Toasty feet are the all-natural way to keep your feet warm in winter and cool in summer. Here's why. One of the main reasons your feet get cold is because of losing body heat through the bottom of your foot anytime you're on a surface that's colder than your body's temperature. And that's not just when you're outdoors either. It could be where you work, on the production floor, or at the office while you're sitting at your desk. Toasty Feet solve this problem by putting an insulating barrier between the bottom of your foot and your shoe, so your feet stay warm naturally by retaining your body's own heat. One of the first things you notice about Toasty Feet is how thin they are. It's just 3/16 of an inch thick. So there's no problem at all fitting it inside your shoe, and it doesn't crowd your foot. The other thing you notice is how lightweight they are. Each Toasty Feet weighs less than 1.5 ounces. So they add no appreciable weight to your shoe or your boot. Earlier you may have noticed somebody standing in bare feet on a block of dry ice, and the only thing between their bare foot and that block of dry ice is a Toasty Feet. And you may be thinking, how can something so incredibly thin provide that kind of insulation? And the answer is that Toasty Feet use a material that was developed by NASA for use in spacesuits called aspen aerogel. Things that influence how well an insulator worked is the amount of surface area, the layering of that surface area, and the trapped air between the layers. Aerogel is the world's least dense solid and is often referred to as frozen smoke. The surface area contained in just one single cubic inch of aerogel is almost enough to cover an entire football field, and it's 50 to 99.9% air. But aerogel is also extremely strong, and it's able to support 500 to 4,000 times its own weight. That's important because it won't crush under your own weight. If it crushes, it loses the trapped air that makes it such an amazing insulator. Another important thing to remember is that insulating barrier also works in the summertime to keep the heat from coming up through the bottom of your shoe and making your feet hot and sweaty. So what I do and what most people do is just to put them in your shoes and you leave them there. So there's no batteries involved, there's no chemical reactions involved that get consumed so that you have to replace your foot warmer device every couple of hours. And foot warmers that are based on chemical reactions also come with a list of warnings. If you don't use them properly or you use them in the wrong kind of shoes, they can actually burn you if you're not careful. I find I get about 2 years of use out of a pair of Toasty Feet, but I guess that'll vary between different people. But they will last longer if you put them in your shoes and you leave them there. Toasty Feet are also very comfortable. That dimpled surface on the Toasty Feet is both shock absorbing, and it does give you like a gentle massaging effect on the bottom of your foot. Toasty Feet come in 2 models, men's and women's. The men's Toasty Feet fit a man's shoe size between 8 and 12. The woman's Toasty Feet fits a woman's shoe size between 7 and 10. There's 2 ways to trim the Toasty Feet to fit inside your shoes. The best way is that if you can remove the insole in your shoe, you take that out. Then you just use the existing insole as a template to trim your Toasty Feet. Now in my case, I wear a size 12, so I have absolutely no trimming. Now if you can't remove the existing insole from your shoe, it's no big deal. There's trim lines on the bottom of the Toasty Feet. So what I tell people to do is always choose the size larger than your shoe size and cut it and see how it fits, because you can always cut it twice, but you obviously can't add it back. Then you simply take the Toasty Feet and I just curve it a little bit, stick it in there, put it up all the way in, push it down. Fits in there really good and snug, doesn't slide around. Very simple. Some people put the Toasty Feet on top of the existing insole. In my own case, I always choose to replace the original insole with the Toasty Feet. That just gives you just a little bit more room. But again, the Toasty Feet are very thin. If you choose to put it on top of the existing insole, that's going to work out just fine. Just wanted to conclude by saying that my wife and I have been using these now for over 2 years. It's one of my favorite products here at theperfectpresent.com. We have very few complaints. It's a very, very popular item. It makes a great gift, and I know you're going to love it too. And if you don't, you can return it. We guarantee everything here at theperfectpresent.com. If you're not happy, you can send it back for a full refund.